It's been of service to the nation since 1904. It's been of service in the capital city of Texas since 1971. It's Big Brothers and Big Sisters that we're featuring on today's Austin Faith Dialogue. Stay with us.
Austin Faith Dialogue, at the crossroads of religion and life. A series highlighting the cultural and social interactions between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KXAN. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue.
Welcome to Austin Faith Dialogue. I'm Richard Thompson of Austin Metropolitan Ministries, welcoming you to a program on Father's Day which is most fitting. It has to do with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Austin. It's a way of showing extended family relationships in a very special way. And we're delighted to have the Executive Director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Austin, Lynn Thompson.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here, Lynn. And also a big brother, Jeff Thomas.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to having you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in a relationship with a young person. But I think maybe we'll start ladies first, Lynn.
Okay.
And tell us about the program as a whole. And, you know, it's been going here for 25 plus years. And what do you do?
Basically, we work with kids who are in need of more friendship in their life, more support, and we match them up with volunteers who provide friendship for them. It's that simple. We have case managers who carefully screen the volunteers and work with the kids to make a good match, and then the volunteers are asked to spend 3 to 4 hours a week doing things with the child, depending on what the child likes to do and what the volunteer likes to do.
3 or 4 hours a week? Okay.
Which may sound like a lot of time. You can ask Jeff more about that, but what we like to tell people is if you think you don't have an extra 3 hours a week, it doesn't mean you have to find 3 more hours. Just take a child along with you and do what you normally like to do.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you do.
How does that work for you, Jeff? What do you do with your...
Yes, it's very easy to find 3 or 4 hours. Like I like to play basketball, go fishing, so I take my little with me to do that, and it's fun.
Your little brother goes along with you and just enjoys your company that way?
Yep. You know, if I go to the mall, I'll just ask him, hey, you want to hang out with me? Mm-hmm. It's easy.
And is your little brother game to do that? Just anytime you say, let's go, he'll go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very surprised to see, the interaction, how pleased he was to meet me and how eager he was to go along with anything. Mm-hmm. He just wants to get out.
Well, that's good. Well, I think the kind of the informality and the rapport that grows out of that is what you have. How many big brothers and sisters do you have altogether?
We have 320 right now, although we need about twice that many. So that's one reason we're here today, to ask people to consider to be a big brother or big sister. Mm-hmm. And we were talking earlier about how important the friendship is. There are a lot of mentoring programs that try to keep kids off drugs or out of jail or in school, but research has shown that a program like ours that really bases the relationship on friendship is going to have more of an impact on the child's life. Mm-hmm. And I sent you some of the studies that show that we do, in fact, keep kids off drugs, off alcohol. They don't join gangs. They don't drop out of school. Our dropout rate is about third that of AISD's. So it really does make a difference in the kid's life.
I see. Okay. So you're not out to try to convert them or to parent them even. You're trying to be a friend, but there's a family type feel to it, it sounds like.
Yeah, we tell people we don't want you to be a counselor or Santa Claus or a taxi. We just want you to be a friend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that we'll have a few pictures here just to kind of give us a graphic understanding of what you do. Let's see what we've got. You give us a little interpretation, if you would.
This is one of our Big Brothers of the Year last year, Stephen Williams and his little brother, and they've just been great together. Stephen helped his little brother find a job and has gotten him into all sorts of volunteer work and different activities, and as you can tell, they really like each other.
They're buddies, right. Yeah. All right.
This is such a great story. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is called Bowl for Kids' Sake, and that little boy raised more than most adults raised. His big brother was out of town when we were the week before the event, so he got together a whole team to come and bowl, and that young man raised about $100, and they raised hundreds of dollars on the team, and that little boy coordinated it. So it's cute because some of the adults will come in and say, I couldn't raise any money, but I still won a bowl. And here we have a little child who really believes in our program.
Bowling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here is one of our big brothers and his little brother at Hobie Day. One of the things we also like people to know about is you don't have to think of a lot of things to do with the kids, that we try to provide activities at least on a quarterly basis. And this is a Hobie Cat Regatta has a day of sailing for us every year out at the lake. And one of the really neat things about this is that a lot of our kids have never been to the lake before, and when they go out there they think they're at the ocean, and they just
really?
can't believe it. So it's a good experience.
That's what you do all together in that case.
Yeah, and we have case managers, social workers who are working with the families to make sure that their needs are met. And this is, when we have the events all together, it's an opportunity for the case managers to spend time with the
Are these case
big
managers we're
brothers
looking
and
at?
big sisters. No, this is two big brothers and a little brother just out bike riding.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep, they're out on one of their weekly activities. The other little brother isn't in the picture.
All right.
And this is the event I was telling you about earlier. We do raise most of our money through local contributions, private contributions. And so it's a bowl-a-thon we have every spring or every winter. And it's not for people necessarily who like to bowl, just people
Sure.
who want to raise money for us.
Okay. And let's see what comes next.
This is some people having fun at Bowl for Kids' Sake, more encouragement. A lot of times people tell us that they don't have the time to be a big brother or big sister, but they want to know what else they can do to help. So this is one opportunity. And we have a lot of different opportunities for getting involved.
All right.
And this is some of the kids that were at Bowl for Kids' Sake. Again, it's another activity that the big brothers and little brothers and big sisters can come out and participate in.
Do together. Okay.
We had clowns there making balloon hats and all sorts of things. There's one of our teams from UT. We have a lot of UT students who are
really?
big brothers and big sisters.
Uh-huh. All right.
And this is two girls waiting for big sisters.
Oh, really?
The kids on our waiting list are between the ages of 6 and 16. So,
Okay, let's pause there just for a moment, because if people are watching this show and they want to know how to respond, they feel some leading to participate in this way, I think we have a number that we can show, and I can remember it because it's 472 kids.
All right.
And whatever the numbers are, you can at least remember the letters.
Right.
And is that the way you got to involve, Jeff, that you just saw this number somewhere and said, I want to help out, or what led you to do it?
Well, actually, when I came to Austin, I was graduating from college, and my, I guess, then girlfriend, now fiance, she said, you know, you make a very good big brother. And I said, no, not me, not me. And I knew I wanted to do some type of community service project, but when I thought about it, I said, well, I wanted to do one project where I can really concentrate my time on that one instead of spreading myself too thin. So when I got here, I just, you know, looked in the phone book and got in touch with the right people.
I see. So it was just kind of by word of mouth, and not any particular, Lynn didn't call you up and say, could you come work with us?
Yeah. It was something I wanted to do even before I got to Austin.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And so you've been doing it a year and a half, and if I were to say that it's mutual benefit,
Yeah.
it's not just for the kids' sake, but for your sake, what have you gotten out of the relationship?
A friend. My little brother Joseph, he's 13, and we have a lot of fun together. It gives me a chance to get away from the adults, from work. I mean, I guess I'm fairly young. I'm only 25, so
Yeah.
it gives me a chance to go out and, I don't know, I realize when I go out with him I'm getting older, but it's a lot of fun.
You're almost twice as old as he is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. This Friday we're gonna go to see the circus. So.
And get away from the real world. What is the real world for you, by the way, besides having a fiance?
Well, it's Motorola 5 days a week.
You work
Yeah,
for Motorola?
Yeah, I'm an engineer at Motorola.
Yeah. Do you ever tell your little brother about what it's like to do the work that you do, or?
Yeah, we talk about it. When I first met him, the first night he saw that I had a pager, You know, he wanted to know what that was about, how we make them, you know, why I had to carry one all the time. So he's very interested in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd say that what we hear from Jeff here in regard to his relationship and what you mentioned before, that you said there were 300 plus what you call matches between big brothers and big sisters and little brothers and sisters. That about half, though, that's about half of those who are on a waiting list.
Right. Boys particularly wait for a long time for a big brother because men tend to volunteer less frequently than women. Our boys wait for up to 3 years for a big brother.
Oh, really?
So while they're on the waiting list, we do other things with them. They get to go on some of the outings that you saw on the slides earlier. They get educational services if they need tutoring or special help in school, and there's a social worker helping the family out with their needs. But what they're really there for is a big brother. So we do have a lot of boys waiting. We also have girls that are waiting, and we have a new program for the girls called Sister to Sister. It's a program targeting girls that are at risk of becoming pregnant, and so we're looking for more women because we're going to be increasing the number of girls that we'll be working with.
In the materials that I came across at some point, it said that you were one of 10 of the delegates from Austin to the President's meeting in Philadelphia
Right.
for volunteerism.
Right. Yeah, there were 10 of us from Austin last month who went to Philadelphia and got motivated to come back and try to motivate and enlist local people in helping youth.
And a big emphasis on that, as I've read, is on mentoring,
Yeah, that
the
was
kind of thing that you're doing.
right. Probably 90% of what was talked about at the summit was mentoring, and I think that's because the data we have shows that it makes more of a difference in a child's life than almost any other component, having a caring adult in their life.
Okay, and so you've had all this experience along that line, and maybe that was one of the reasons that you got invited, is you had something to share in that regard.
I think so. Big Brothers Big Sisters was the most represented national organization at the summit. We had 34 delegates from across the nation, and our national director was very involved. So it was pretty exciting being there. I think it's the first time that all of the living presidents have ever gotten together to do anything for youth. So it was a very historical event.
You're not talking about presidents of Big Brother, you're talking about presidents of the United States.
States, right.
I mean, besides President Clinton, you had President Bush as one of the co-conveners.
Right.
And
Mrs. Reagan was there.
Well, I think in the second half of the show we may have occasion to come back to that, because I'm not sure to what extent anybody from Austin that has gone and come back had a chance to tell a little bit about the significance of it and what that can mean for us locally. But we'll hold that just for now, and we'll also hold our program for just a few seconds here while we take a break, and as we return we'll be continuing our discussion and appreciation of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Austin. Welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue, where today our focus is upon the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program of the city. And we have with us Lynn Thompson, who's the executive director of the program, and we have Jeff Thomas, who is a volunteer Big Brother.
Right.
Just before the break, I was thinking, Jeff, that people who are looking in may feel a little intimidated about taking on the responsibility of being a big brother or sister. a little scared of how they would relate to the younger generation. Tell us what you would say to encourage anyone that's thinking these thoughts.
Well, I know when I first started, I had reservations, but I would just say, just don't be afraid. Just to, just be yourself. You're just there to be a friend. You're not there to be more than that. And as far as the commitment, I did at first think that 3 to 4 hours a week would be a lot. I was just getting to Austin, and I was just trying to get myself to settle here in town, but there's no problem there.
Well, what about training for it? Did you receive anything along that line?
Yeah, there was some initial counseling done by the case manager with me to just kind of give me some pointers to start me on my way. And then there's what's called the Big Network, and that's just an organization where all of the bigs get together and share stories. They share information on how to deal with different situations and how to reach their children.
The bigs, did you say?
Yeah, just the bigs.
You can be a big brother, a big sister, and I think I read somewhere you can also be a big couple.
Right.
Doesn't have referring to weight or anything.
Now, that's a great opportunity because everyone's so busy in the 90s, and if you're married, a lot of times people think there's no way I can take on this child because I can't even see my spouse. Well, this is something married couples can do together.
Okay.
And what the couples tell us, pretty much all of them, that it's the best thing they've ever done in their marriage, that they really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. And there's more flexibility too, because if one of the couples is traveling a lot, one of the members of the marriage, then the other one can take the child out when that person's
I
out
see.
of town.
All right, that's interesting. And there you really do have more of a kind of a family sort of relationship.
Right.
But I think that there are statistics that indicate that most of the young folks that you're looking to get help for are from single female homes. That 90% of the youngsters are from that condition?
From single parent families, and 98% of them are from female-headed households.
Okay. So there is a special need for men to be in the program.
Yes, but I think why we have a lot of girls in the program too is often in a single parent family there isn't as much support. There's only one person doing what usually two people do. So even single moms, and I'm a single mom and my son's on the waiting list because it just wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more support. And my son needs a male role model, but it'd also be nice to spend time alone with my daughter each week if he was off with a big brother.
Right. So you find that that's kind of gives some breathing space to the parent involved as well? Is that
Yeah.
your experience?
Yeah, Joseph, his mom, every time I come over, she always says that she appreciates me a whole lot.
Yeah.
She has 4 sons. And when I come over to pick Joseph up, she's ready to send him off, go.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
A lot of the bigs, as we call them, also become friends with the family, and sometimes they spend holidays together, or the parties that we have, like County Line has a Christmas party for us every year, and the whole family will come together. I don't know if that's your experience.
Yeah, I haven't been matched long enough to do anything like that yet.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some more pictures that you had brought here. Tell us about that.
These are, this is a brother and a sister who are both on the waiting list, waiting for a big brother and a big sister. And there's a cute little girl that's waiting for a big sister.
Okay.
That was at one of our parties. I think that was out at the County Line.
Is
for
she part
Christmas.
mouse or something? Is that?
No, but we had face painters there.
All right.
And that was another girl at County Line who's there on our waiting list.
Sweet looking kids.
Oh yeah, they're all great. And this is a party that the JC's has for us every year for our birthday party. So it's another event that the bigs and littles can come to together, and that the kids on their waiting list can come to.
All right.
And this is, I think, a big sister and a little sister at Hobie Day that I talked about earlier.
Hobie Day is that boat day that you
Yes.
mentioned. Okay.
And this is the summit. You can see my head turned barely. I'm talking to President Bush, and that was the delegates, and President and Mrs. Bush came to visit
Oh,
the
I see.
Texas delegation.
This is in Philadelphia at the President's Summit.
Yes.
All right.
And here are the Bushes with the delegates, for the youth delegates from Texas. Every one of the delegations had at least one youth on, and we had Dorisa Rivera from St. Ed's, who's in the mentoring project there, and she's right behind President Bush. And so it was a great just event to have all the youth there. They were very powerful youth, all leaders in their community, and it really made me motivated to come back and work at leadership development with our youth, because we saw kids from around the country who are doing wonderful things in their community to help other youth.
Okay.
And here are the 10 Austin delegates.
Oh, yes. I see Pat Flood there to the right from Austin Metropolitan Ministries, the executive director.
And there's Bruce Todd.
And there's Mayor Todd, right? Okay.
And here's one of the pictures we took during the closing ceremonies.
Okay. In Independence Hall?
Independence Hall.
All right.
So it was pretty exciting to be there. I think they came up with a new interdependence
And what's this?
instead of independence. Here is another big brother and little brother out on one of their weekly activities.
Okay.
And some of our matches goofing off together.
We're ending on a serious note here, I can see.
Yeah, two big brothers and little brothers.
All right. Well, a Declaration of Interdependence that you were saying it sort of came out of the Philadelphia experience. In other
Right.
words-
I don't know who brought that up. I think it might have been Colin Powell, that what we need to acknowledge more is that we need to be more interdependent, not independent, and that people need to help one another. And the summit was a call to action for people to get involved in the lives of youth. And that was one of the reasons I got involved, because we do have 370 kids on our waiting list. And I'm hoping that some of the momentum from the summit will get us additional volunteers to work with those youth.
Well, I think that it all begins with one-on-one. And Jeff, you're really helpful for us to have this in perspective, because I wonder sometimes if people feel that we're just like overwhelmed with the numbers of folks who have needs, and that this all is sort of beyond us. Have you had a sense that you're making a difference?
Yeah. Joseph, his mom, every time we finish an outing or whatever, I'll drop him off, and his mom, she'll come over and say, you know, you're really getting to him. You know, he comes in, he's kind of quiet with me sometimes. And it takes a while to kind of reach most of the children, to get them to really open up to you. But she tells me that when I leave, you know, she can't stop him from talking about what we've done and what we're planning on doing the next week. So,
You know, it just dawned on me, too. I was reading some of the material that you sent, Lynn, before the show, that any young person who is in a sustained relationship with a big brother, big sister, or a big couple, that there is a possible scholarship that's involved in that. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a really neat aspect of our program, that we had some donors back in the 80s who gave us a large endowment, and we are able to promise every child that we work with that if they will graduate from high school or get their GED, we will give them $2,000 to go to college. And we've been real fortunate that most of the local colleges and universities will double that. So just for graduating, no matter what their grades are, the kids get $4,000 if they choose one of
To go
those.
to an
matching
institution of higher learning, community college, or...
And one thing, you know, I'm trying to get people to do it now, because most people that call us, we say, how did you find out about Big Brothers Big Sisters? And they say, we've always known about it, we've always thought about it, but we can't really find out what the hook is. But I hope one hook is knowing that one more child will get that $2,000 scholarship if they sign up. Because if a child doesn't have a big brother or big sister, we can't assume that that $2,000 is going to make a difference. So it's only for the kids who have a big brother or big sister.
I see. Who have it at the time that they graduate?
No, they have to have it at 7th grade or after. And the average match lasts about 2.5 years. Often they last a lifetime, but sometimes volunteers move, the kids move, or volunteers get transferred. So our average adult child match is 2.5 years, but as long as the child was matched at some point in junior high or high school, we will give them that $2,000 scholarship.
Wow, well, that's good, and that's made known right up front, that that's an incentive to stay with the relationship
And it's making a difference. We just had our annual scholarship ceremony where we give the scholarships to the kids who have graduated and promise the 7th graders that they will get the $2,000. And out of the graduating class 7 years ago, we promised 28 kids that they would get this scholarship. 22 of them graduated this May, and the other 8 are still in school. So not one of them has dropped out. And that's unusual for Austin and for the youth that we're working with. So we're real proud of that. And virtually all of our kids are first generation to go to college, and their families are so excited.
Okay, so you've got a track record on that already.
Yes.
And looking over the other programs that you are involved with through Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Austin, there was one called JUMP.
That's
What
a
does that
program
mean?
we
Is that
have.
parachuting or?
No, it's called Juvenile Mentoring Program.
Oh,
and it's a targeted program in Northeast Austin where we work with communities and schools and the fire department to get the kids to stay in school and stay off drugs. And basically it's the one-to-one mentoring with some additional activities, because we choose kids for that program that seem to be even more risk of getting into trouble. Maybe they have an older sibling who's already in the juvenile justice system, or their grades are failing. So we choose kids that it's a little more than primary prevention. It's a little bit of intervention. So we plan additional activities for them. We have tutoring for them and incentives for them. And we're just looking for any volunteer that would be interested in working with them.
Is that a federally funded program?
Yes, we were one of the first in the country to get that. There were, I guess, 540 applicants, and only 40 programs were chosen
Wow.
nationwide.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, so, and because it's so successful, now they've like tripled the federal funding for this program.
I'd like to, just before we wind things up, it seems to me we may have a address and phone number that, there we go, there's the phone number, 472-KIDS. That's easy for anybody that wants to follow up on our discussion here today to give you a call. And I have a hunch too that if you are like working in Motorola, Jeff, do you have other people there on the job that you tell the good news to, that there are opportunities for this sort of thing? Or?
Yeah, all the time.
And do you know of others who've kind of, you've helped bring around to following what you've done?
Yeah, I've met quite a few people that have come to Austin about the same time frame that I moved here, and there's quite a few. I know there's a couple that I know right off the bat that got involved once we talked. And then there are a few that I'm still working on.
Well, that's great. Well, keep on working on it, and we'll try to get some folks to take care of those kids that are waiting to be called, and
Thanks.
they can give you a call and go from there.
All right,
Thank you, Lynn Thompson,
thank you.
and Jeff Thomas for being here. We want to thank you folks for being here on this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. Be with us again next week. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And by the way, happy Father's Day.